Stephenson. I'm a huge fan of the work that he continues to do. He's a PhD and wrote this book, The Element. And, of course, I was lucky enough to be sent one of his lectures, and it inspired and taught me so much about myself as well. And one of the other things you talk about that I find fascinating is that kids today are afraid to be wrong. And how else do we learn?
Well, exactly. You see, part of the problem in schools is this culture of standardized testing. And, I mean, I don't know, let me ask you a question, people in the audience here. How many of you have got 2 children? How many of you have seen 2 children? How about that? Well, I'm one of 7, and Bonnie's one of 7. And I don't need to know your kids to know this is true. That they are, if you've got 2 kids, they're completely different from each other, aren't they? Completely different. I've got 6 siblings, and we're all different. We love each other, but we're all different, and I'm sure that's true of your family. And the problem is, and it's not the fault of teachers, but because of the current system, we're judging all kids as if they were the same, and they're all different. We're not looking into people's eyes and seeing who they really are. And it's compounded by this multi-billion-dollar industry in standardized testing. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think standardized tests have a place.
Sure.
You know, I mean,
but they shouldn't define children.
No, you know, if I have a blood test, I want a standardized test. You know, I want to know what my cholesterol is, you know, compared to yours. I don't want my doctor to say it's, you know, it's what I call level orange. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I want a standardized test. But it's what you do with the information. And this, I think, that's really the heart of the problem, that all kids are different. They have very different talents. They learn differently. They think differently. And great teachers always knew that. But the system that we have now was designed really to meet the needs of manufacturing. And it's like a manufacturing system. You know, it's about conformity. And the result of that, by the way, in America, is that 30% of kids drop out before they finish high school, and 50% in some communities. And by the way, I live in America, you know, so I hope you don't feel I've just come over here to take a few shots at this. You know,
no.
I do live here, and we're very invested in this. But when you've got a 30% dropout rate, maybe 50%, you can't blame kids at that point. There's something wrong with the system. And it's the system that needs to be fixed. And I think it's inhibiting teachers as much as the kids themselves.
Where does this path lead us? Yes, exactly. I just feel for kids so much, you know. I just feel for them and that standard that they feel like somehow they're failing. And then they do give up. I think they do just say, forget it. It's easier to walk away than to be there and be wrong and struggle a little bit, knowing that it's not the only way I define myself. But where does this lead? What happens? How do we improve our school systems?
Well, I think part of it is that we have to think differently about ability. We have a very limited view these days of intelligence. We think it's all about IQ. You know, but really intelligence is wonderfully different and diverse. You know, if you look at the creative things that people do in dance, in music, in television, in writing, in literature, in sport, intelligence is fantastically diverse. But in schools, we're forced to focus on a particular type of intelligence. So that's really what the book is about. I mean, the first bit, you know, when we say people are in their element, it really means they're enjoying themselves. They're really being themselves, doesn't it? And I think that's 2 things. One is that you're doing something that you're naturally good at. And we're all very good at different things. For some people, that's math. For some people, it's not. You know, they go through the whole of their school being judged against math. And math
is a huge part of the
grade. Yeah. For some people, it's gymnastics. You know, one of the people I interviewed for the book is a great guy called Bart Conner, you know, who's a gymnast. Do you know him?
Yeah.
Bart found, he's a wonderful guy, he found when he was 6, that he could walk on his hands as easily as he could walk on his feet. But the thing is, his mother had the sense to see a message there. And lots of people, kids give you messages. You know, some kids are drawn to drawing. Some are making music all the time. You know, some, like Gillian, have to move. Some are doing math. You have to hear the message and then encourage it. And the other thing is, life isn't linear. You know, nobody could have predicted what Bart would have gone on to do. But when you find your talent, your whole life changes. You have a different life. It's like in your life. Your life has changed because you've invested in the thing that you love to do. You lead a different life because of that. And your life takes on a different meaning. And I think if education is not about helping people to find a life with purpose and meaning and fulfillment, then what is it about? You know, and you do that by rethinking talent. That's the first step. And then you build a different type of system around that.
I think I'm in love with you.
Oh, thank you.
You guys, we're going to bring Ken back. And just even on your own, if you could do a whole hour with us, I would really appreciate it, because I just think there's so much more to cover. And if you want more on Ken right now, you can go to bonniehunt.com and we'll lead you to it. Thanks so much for being here.
That's great, Ken.